So when I decided to start reading from the Bible, and I've thought about this for a couple of weeks now, and the idea came to me. The obvious question was where to start, as it was the week leading up to Christmas. My first thought was to read the Christmas story, Matthew and of Luke. The passages most of us are familiar with are in Matthew and Luke. And I practiced reading those, and at that time, a week or two ago, leading up to Christmas, knowing I wouldn't be with my family, my children, I couldn't do it. I wasn't ready. I couldn't get through it. I began reading the book of Psalms because most of David's writings, songs, praises to God are positive and uplifting and hopeful, and I needed to read that so very much. Many of the other chapters of Psalms are not as uplifting. They are laments. When King David feels somewhat abandoned. But in my reading so far, the majority are like the famous 23rd Psalm, which I've known since I was a child. I mentioned in my opening video, my introduction, that my parents were professors. My father liked me as a professor of humanities, but he was, prior to that and for his entire adult life, a pastor. I would refer to him as a theologian, highly educated. He read multiple translations of the Bible and studied vociferously. He was a true scholar. So I grew up in his church, very much admiring my father, listening to his sermons as best I could, up to the age of 9, when sadly my parents divorced. And that happy life ended for my brother, my sister, and myself. Each of us suffered that loss of our parents as a unit in our own ways. I was the youngest. All I know is I miss my dad a lot. Like most kids whose parents divorced, I grew up with my mom, my brother, my sister, and I. When I turned 16, I was able to go live with my dad. So that was a 6-year absence. We saw each other on Christmases, summers, and that mattered a lot. But the home is never the same. I know. Something like 80% of marriages today end in divorce. No, I misspoke. Well over 50% end in divorce. 80% today, this is 2019, are initiated by the woman for all the reasons you can imagine. I'm not going to try to justify divorce or blame anyone. People have their reasons to separate. I'm just saying, it's hard on the kids. It was on me. I never thought it would happen to me, but it did. So here I am. Now, I mentioned in my introduction that I might want to read the Bible story, the Christmas story. Kind of changed my mind on that. Then I thought, well, why not start at the beginning with the book of Genesis? It's going to be a lot of genealogy eventually. And I began to overthink translations. I think you can see in the shot here, 3. This is the New Living Translation. I grew up with the King James, but I don't have access to my library at home or my dad's library. So these 2 books are checked out from my little town's library, and this one was given to me by the folks at the church I'm now attending. Each of them has its benefits. These large ones are actually study Bibles. This one is the Harper Collins Study Bible, New Standard Revised Version. I was not familiar with Harper Collins having its own version of the Bible. This is the one I've been reading mostly. It's the New Geneva Study Bible. Bible scholars know this one quite well. It is based on the King James Version. It's called the New King James Version. And in terms of its use of language, it comes very close to capturing the language that was created in, I think it was 1610, in the King James edition of the English translation of the Bible was finally published. And it did take years. The history of creation, Genesis 1:1. Why don't we indeed start at the very beginning and see where it goes from there? I think I'd like to read maybe from each of them. We'll see. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth." And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Then God said, "Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens." So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And that brings us to chapter 2. Now that reading was from the New Geneva Study Bible, the one of the three I've got closest to the original King James. In the next video, I might read the same passage from a different edition. I can't wait to find out what I do. I hope you'll be here with me.